Hi guys, Kate back again. This is number 2 out of my series on Aussie slang. So here we go. Okay, I've got some random ones first that aren't C's or D's. But anyway, little tacker. It means child. Doco, documentary. Servo is a service station or petrol station. Dero or Wino means an alcoholic. Ambo means either an ambulance or an ambulance driver. A cop shop is a police station. Coles or Woolies is the supermarket. Occasionally we have IGA and Maxi and a couple of other smaller chains, but the two big ones are Coles and Woolies, so that'll be, you know, the usual ones people will say. Hanging laps. This is definitely a cultural thing. Basically, you jump in your car, you drive up and down the main street, checking out who's out, you know, are there any hot girls or guys to look at? It's a time filler, and you know, if you've got a nice car, it's a chance to show off your nice car. But I've shown off my very, very crappy car. When I was 18, I had a Leyland mini van shape, and it had black bubble windows and mag wheels and red velour seats. I could beat anyone off the lights, which means, you know, you like drag racing from the lights. But once I was to the other side of the intersection, every car would pass me, but it didn't matter because I beat everyone off the lights. So yeah, all of that is part of the fun of hanging laps, which is all pretty pointless, but you know, when you're in your late teens, it all sounds like good fun. And while you're hanging laps, you might get hungry, so you might trot off to Macca's, and Macca's is MacDonalds. Going for a quick fang, that just means going for a speed in your car. So you might go for a quick fang round to a mate's place, just means you're going there in a hurry. More 18, 19-year-old stuff. Being pissed is to be drunk. Being pissed off is to be angry. To tell somebody to piss off is to tell them to get lost or go away. The Dunny or the loo is a toilet. Handy to know if, you know, you've been on the piss. On the piss, that's another one. That means to be having alcohol. The Outback here in Australia is the countryside. Probably the further away you get from the cities, the more in the outback you are. Now, I've got some slang, which is a Victorian slang, which is Buckley's and Nunn. Buckley's and Nunn was a department store in Melbourne in, you know, 2 centuries ago. Anyway, so Buckley's and Nunn, it's sort of associated slang, none as in nothing. So if somebody says, gee, you've got no chance, you've got Buckley's and Nunn. You've got no hope, you've got Buckley's and Nunn. So you can say Buckley's chance. So it's just a combination of all of those things, but basically it means you've got no hope. And that's probably a confusing one. And you'll hear that in Victoria and South Australia, because South Australians associated with us a fair bit, especially in the Western District of Victoria, which is where I grew up. Okay. Oh, a divvy van. I'm on to new stuff now. Divvy van is a police divisional van, and that's if you are drunk in the street and they're going to take you to the lockup, they'll call the Divvy van. The Divvy van will come and pick you up and take you down to the cop shop. Now I'm into the actual C's and D's from the book, which was this book, in case you forgot. And I just picked the random ones that I would use. Cackleberry. That's an egg, like a chicken's egg, chook egg. If you're describing something as cactus, it means it's dead. Basically associating the desert, dried up. Dead things will be often dried up in the desert. I'm wearing a Cardie, which, hang on, that would, with buttons or without buttons, that's a Cardie. It's short for cardigan. Carked it. If something has carked it, they're dead. Okay, so if you're going to barrack at the football, so you're cheering for your side, you might say, "Carn the Swannies," which is come on, South Melbourne Football Club. Actually, it's not South Melbourne Football Club anymore. The Swans are now located in Sydney, so they're the Sydney Swans. And most of the football teams, like Aussie rule football teams, have an animal or something associated with them. So Richmond Tigers, North Melbourne Kangaroos. It used to be the Fitzroy Lions. Now I think it's the Brisbane Lions. The Footscray Bulldogs. I can't remember where the Bulldogs are now. They're, I don't know, one of the other states. You know, it started out, AFL was mainly a Victorian sport. And then South Australia, Northern Territory got into it because it's a good game to play with, you know, out much of a field. You basically need 4 poles at either end. You don't need to worry about if you've got grass or not or anything like that. It expanded from Victoria outwards. Sydney and Brisbane, they got a couple of teams. Like they just bought up one of the old teams here in Victoria and shipped it up north. Whereas South Australia and Western Australia, they actually created their own teams. Poor old Tassie, they don't have anything, probably because it's so darn expensive to fly here to play against anyone. Or, you know, maybe they've got too many trees and they don't want to cut them down to make football fields. Who knows? Tassies are lovely people, beautiful place, but a little bit separated from the rest of the mainland. Okay. Oh, a dead cert. Or a cert. If something's a cert, it's a dead certainty. So yeah, dead cert. They're a sure winner. So if you were to gamble on a horse race, you put 10 bob on the favourite, but just means that you've put $10 on the horse that's most likely to win. So yeah, you might make some money back, but probably not. Never go gambling if you can't afford to throw that money away. Cheerio just means goodbye. That's one from the British, from probably the Second World War, carried over, came down here. Whereas cheers, you can say cheers with a glass, like clink your glasses, cheers. But I'll also say cheers as a thank you or a thank you and goodbye. Yeah, most often I'd say cheers as a thank you. Yeah. And next one, chewy, is chewing gum. Sort of a hangover from the 1980s. Everyone liked their chewy back then. A chippy. Now, this is a shortened term for a carpenter because they work with wood. They have wood chips, and so they're called chippies. And each of the different trades has a nickname like that. So that's the ones in the sea is chippy. So my dad's a chippy. Actually, he's quite a good craftsman, but he gets called a chippy sometimes. If something is chock-a-block or chockers, it means it's full. So you fill a glass up with water till it's overflowing, that glass is chockers. Or you've eaten too much Christmas dinner or festival dinner. Yeah, basically you've had a big feast and you're now feeling chockers. Full as a goog is another way to say that you're full up, and a goog is a googie egg, which is just another term for chicken's egg. Chook is chicken. My nickname is Chook. My mother calls me Gertrude Alphonsus the Chook because when I was still in nappies, I would arrange my toys all around me in a circle, and I looked like a little old hen arranging her nest, so she gave me an old-fashioned name, Gertrude Alphonsus, and Chook. So that's me. So Maria will call me Gertie Alf, and a whole variety of things, occasionally just Chook. Chook is also a term of endearment. It's a bit like calling somebody chick, or Chuck is a British version of it. But yeah, basically, mainly girls get called chicks and chucks, and yeah, I don't find it offensive. Some people do, because they think chickens are dumb, but chickens aren't dumb. They're highly intelligent, so I don't find it offensive. Right, Chrissy. Come for Chrissy dinner or come for Chrissy lunch. That just means come for Christmas lunch or dinner. For my family, it isn't religious at all. It's just a good time to have a feast with friends. So, and it's so normally you might, if you were religious, you'd either be invited on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. My family doesn't care that much. We go, right, we'll have Christmas lunch on, I don't know, the 2nd of December or 23rd of November, just because we go, right, when can all of the family all get together on one day? Right, that's when we'll have Christmas, because for us, it's not a religious thing. It's just a time for family to get together and have a good time. For Christmas, we would definitely get anyone under the age of adulthood a present. Adults, you can give your favourite friends, family members presents if you want, or you can just, you know, it's just as good to give them a hug and a kiss or on the cheek, and maybe a box of biscuits, or it doesn't really matter. It's all about seeing each other and having a good time more than the actual presents. For kids, it's a bit more about the presents, but my brother's kids, they don't really care about the presents that much either. I mean, they're nice. They get them from their parents, but they're not that fussed if they get them from aunties and uncles and grandparents and everyone else. Yeah. So if they get them, they're extra happy. If they don't, that's okay too. My family actually, so I would give my parents books, they would give me books, I'd give my brother books, my sister-in-law books, I'd give the kids books. But the kids, I may also go, you know, do you want to go to a concert, or do you want to go to see a movie or something like that. So normally I would spend under $50 per person, and the more removed you are, the less money I'd spend on you, maybe $20 for a friend, and you know, only if I'm seeing you around Christmas time or your birthday. Isn't that rude? But I'm on a pension, so I don't get much money, so everyone should be happy with just my beautiful smiling face. Okay, back to my list. Okay, chuck. So there are two ways chuck can be used. You can chuck a ball, which is to throw a ball, or you can have a chuck, which is throwing up. Yeah, it can also be called chundering. Sorry, I used to do an impression of a cat throwing up that my mother and father would get me to do at dinner parties, because, you know, a young child imitating a cat throwing up is highly entertaining, I suppose. So anyway, I get used to doing stupid things in front of people. Whereas, you know, really doing that at a social event is to drop a clanger or make a clanger, which is a social mistake. You wouldn't do it around grandparents or, you know, polite people. Whereas my parents' friends, they could either be polite or they could be extremely rude and funny. Go like the clappers, like a bat out of hell. Go very fast. So if I was galloping on my horse, I'd be going like the clappers. Or you could be going like the clappers in your car, which is accelerator to the floor, pedal to the metal. Which I used to speed a lot when I was driving as an 18-year-old, which I would get a lot of speeding fines, and I don't do that now. I'm very good. I realised I was bipolar and I should just listen to classical music in the car and keep myself nice and calm. And I speed a lot less, which is a good thing for everyone, because, yeah, I don't want to kill anyone. That'd be terrible. If somebody gives you a clip under the ear, it means to slap them back of the head, under the ear. Yeah, it's just basically tell them off with slight physical violence, which supposedly doesn't happen. If you're an adult and you get a clip under the ear, it's probably because you deserved it. So, yeah. What else? Cock up. If you've made a cock up or you've cocked something up, it means you've made a mistake and messed it up. A common cock up is to write the address down on a letter that you're posting to somebody and it goes to somebody else's house. That's a cock up. Or, you know, you're making a recipe and you leave out the eggs and your cake goes and it's flat. That's a cock up. Okay, I'm on to my second page. That means I'm over halfway through. A cockie. I love cockies. Cockies are, for me, they are a sulphur-crested cockatoo, but they are also a nickname for farmers. So, yeah, it's common in the country to see cockatoos. We had a pet one when I was little and he was a bad bird. He would swoop down over your shoulder and land on the handlebars of the motorbike or the tricycle, as we had when I was little. And he would sit there with his wings out and you'd be going so fast on your trike and the little bird goes, ah! Hanging on, having a great time. But he would do that on the front of my father's motorcycle too, and he loved it. Loved the air blowing in his face. Okay, That's a cocky. Yeah, look up a sulphur-crested cockatoo. That's the bird that we had as a pet. Codswallop. Codswallop means absolute nonsense. It's a made-up word, and it's made up because it means nonsense. If somebody offers you a coldie, do you want a coldie? Or grab me a coldie from the fridge? Tongue-tied. A coldie is a beer. If somebody says a tinny, they mean an aluminium can of beer. A stubby is a small bottle of beer. So a coldie could either be a stubby or a tinny. And a long neck is a big bottle of beer. And there's a Northern Territory stubby, which is like 2 litres of beer. They drink a lot more in the Northern Territory because it's hot and dry. I think they made it as a joke, but the locals seem to drink a lot more up there. Okay, next, conk out. Conking out is to break down. A car would conk out. Occasionally you can conk out on a bed, just means to be exhausted and fall asleep. But basically conking out is stops going. Cooey. I'll try and cover the mic a bit. Sorry. Cooey! That's how you would call if somebody is lost in the bush or in the outback. The noise travels a long distance, and if you get a responding in return, then that just means that they're over there or over there, depending on which direction the sound came from, and you just keep making those noises until you find each other. Yeah, so that's a cooey. Within cooey, within calling distance. So my brother's house is within cooey. He lives about 3 blocks away, 3 small blocks. I don't think he would actually hear me, but it's close enough to walk to within 10 minutes. That's within cooey. Okay, a copper is another term for a policeman. That's another word that's come from the UK and stuck out here. Crack a beer means to open your beer. Off his crackers. Off his crackers means crazy. A biscuit short of a packet is another term. We have a whole lot of terms for insulting people, telling them they're crazy. There's a roo loose in the top paddock, sandwich short of a picnic, stubby short of a 6-pack, things like that. So we call people crazy in a lot of different ways. If something's been creamed, like your team has been creamed, it means beaten by a large margin. So I'll go with soccer because you're all more likely to know soccer than you are Aussie rules. So if the game was lost 10 goals to nothing, then the team that got nothing was creamed. Here's another word that has 2 meanings. Crook. So a crook can be a thief, or to feel crook is to feel unwell. And that can also be like feeling unwell, or actually both. You can say as crook as a dog's hind leg, which, how crooked so a dog's hind leg sort of goes like that. And it just means very crooked. Therefore, the crook is a very good thief, or you are feeling very, very unwell. If somebody offers you a cuppa, that's either a tea or a coffee. If somebody invites you out for a coffee, that's going out to a cafe to have a drink. Whereas if somebody says, come and have a cuppa with me, they're inviting you to their house to have a drink of tea or coffee. Yeah. Okay. Now we're into the D's. Maybe I should stop. I'm just looking at the time. It's 25 minutes you've been listening to me. Sorry, I yacked for so long. Okay, I'll stop here and I'll give you another one next time. Bye!